thank you for tuning in to Tea Time with Lorna. Today I have a dear friend with me who's going to share tea, going to reminisce, catch up, talk. So I want to welcome you to Tea Time with Lorna and my good friend Miss Lillie Ennis.
Hi dear.
Hi sweetie. So we are going to have some tea today. Tell me, what tea are you drinking today?
Well, I picked Yogi Detox tea.
Okay, excellent. It's one of my favorites. So that's great. Enjoy. I picked a peppermint tea today. I really do like peppermint, so I'm going to enjoy the peppermint tea. So we have known each other. How long have we known each other now?
It's been a while. I want to say since, maybe my sophomore year. So 2002?
Oh, wow.
Over 10 years for sure.
Wow.
Over 15 years for sure, actually.
Wow. For sure, because we both are graduates from Sacred Heart in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Yes.
So it was a great school, so we have known each other a long time.
Yes.
So that's good. What have you been up to? Because I haven't seen you now for a little while. Tell me, what have you been up to, Miss Entrepreneur?
Man, I have had several projects in the works within, I want to say, the last couple of weeks. So from January to now, I've just had so many things up my sleeve, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Lots of projects.
Okay. What about your traveling? I know that's one of the things we share. I love to travel. This year, I actually haven't been out of the country this year, but I have been to, where have I been? New York, New Jersey, local stuff. I was up in Maine. What about you? Have you left the country this year?
Oh my goodness, yes. I actually came back from Bali.
Okay, jealous. Go ahead.
Amazing,
Jealous.
amazing. And I actually fly out Wednesday to Kansas City.
Okay, not jealous.
I'm gonna catch a Royals baseball game on the Thursday, so it's gonna be exciting.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
What was Bali like? Now that is on my list. Am I saying it right? Is it Bali?
Bali.
Yeah. What is that like?
It was beautiful. Like aesthetically, it's just gorgeous. I had one of the best experiences of my life. I climbed up and down a waterfall.
Okay.
Which I probably would have never done in a million years, but like my adventure radar was up.
Okay.
I tore a thigh muscle on the way back up.
Ouch.
But when I tell you, it was one of the most rewarding experiences ever. That country is just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm definitely planning on going back.
How long was the flight? I mean, did you leave from...
Well, I went to Qatar first.
Okay.
I spent the day there.
Okay.
And then I went over to Bali. Collectively, to get to Qatar was about a 12-hour flight.
Oh, wow.
And then from Qatar to Bali was another 10-hour flight.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
That's a long time.
But worth it?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. But you know what? When you take those long flights, they make it very comfortable. Like the seats recline all the way back. You almost feel like you're like in first class.
Oh, very nice. I know I once took I was going to Europe and I had to go to Russia first. Mm-hmm. And that flight from JFK was 10 hours. And I have to say, it definitely was one of my most comfortable flights ever. Mm-hmm. The stewardesses or air hostess or whatever they call themselves these days, they were wonderful, they were pleasant, the passengers were nice. I mean, it was a wonderful flight. So many films that you could choose from, so I know how it is when you do those long distance things. Beautiful. So, a little jealous, but you know, I'll just have to add it to my own bucket list.
We'll be there soon.
Have you ever been to Fiji?
No. No, I have not. I was supposed to go to Fiji and ended up last minute having to cancel my trip.
Because that looks like another one that I probably would enjoy.
You'd love it.
Is that, and what about, I don't know, also on my list is Bora Bora, because that's another great one.
And the Maldives.
Yeah, not me so much, but I think I like Bora Bora because that's one of the ones that was featured in a couple of movies where they have the houses literally on top of the water.
Same thing with the Maldives. They're very similar. Very, very similar.
Oh, I didn't know that. I do know that, I mean, or I've heard that Jamaica is actually building something very similar.
Yeah?
Yes.
I wonder what part.
That I don't know.
Jamaica is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that I've heard that they're building stuff like that out there, and I'm like, okay, I've got to add that to my list. So all I'm doing is growing a list.
Oh yes, bucket list homicide. I love it.
But what about you? Have you been to Jamaica?
Yes, I took the boys last year. We're going again in August this year.
Okay. And you like Jamaica? What's your favorite part?
You know what? I went for a dream trip through my travel company last year. We went to Mobay.
Okay.
And it was beautiful, but I went actually to, I have a team that grows out there, and I actually did some business in Kingston.
Okay.
And I had a blast.
Okay.
It's two totally different vibes, but I think because I'm more of a city girl at heart, I really enjoyed Kingston a lot. Like I got to visit, the inner city. Like I stopped at the side of the road where they literally had this barrel and they were just cooking fish in there and jerking chicken. So like I had a fond appreciation for that versus having like resort food and it was this edgier feel that I really enjoyed. I had a great time.
It's a great way to see the real country.
Yes.
When you go, if you have the time to get into where the people are, see the culture, the customs and stuff like that. I totally understand. I know I've been to Jamaica a few times myself. And I've also done what you've done. I've been on a resort, but I've also been into the country and even into the the deep country, if there's such a thing.
Like Blue Mountain.
Yes, because it's not a big island. So,
right.
And I had a great time. Every time I've gone, I've had a great time. I was there, I think, 2 years ago, and we were on Dunn's Riverside.
Oh yeah.
Had Ocho Rios, had a great time. So there's a waterfall. You never walked that waterfall?
No, Ocho Rios, I have to go. I've got to add that to the list too.
So that'll be on your list. You'll have Dunn's River, and I'll have Bora Bora and all those other countries.
Absolutely.
But tell me a little bit about, because I know you're very big into breast cancer awareness and things like that, being a survivor yourself. Can you share with me a little bit about your experience with that?
I was diagnosed with breast cancer 11 years ago.
Okay.
April 25th of this month, it will mark 11 years cancer-free.
Oh, amen.
Yes, that is good. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was a little bit pig-headed when I got diagnosed with breast cancer.
What do you mean?
As far as almost like denial, like the doctor came in and she wanted to give me this like almost like a death sentence. And she's like, it's what we fear. Like she had this very, I guess she meant to be empathetic, which is good. But I was just like, okay, well, give me a pill. What do we need to do? Surgery, whatever. I'm like over it. I refuse to accept that I have cancer. And she's like, you don't understand. I was like, no, you don't understand. I don't have time for this. I have a busy life. I have this going on, I have that going on. She's like, honey, like she was really trying to make me understand, like, it's cancer. And the thing with me was that it was a little bit complicated. My specific cancer, I had a lump on the left breast. Okay. But it was surrounded by something called a sarcoid, and it was inoperable. Because if they had operated and penetrated, then it could spread everywhere else. Okay. So I had to go through like all these weird, extensive treatments. But by the grace of God, I stood positive. I did a lot of holistic routes. So I'm so thankful for this tea time because I got to learn about, lavender oil and herbs and just how important, those type of natural healing properties are. And I'll be celebrating 11 years this month.
Amen. I mean, I knew about the cancer. I didn't realize that about the type that you had and stuff like that. I don't know if you know this, but a few years ago, I was actually a breast cancer facilitator. Wow. And I ran a survivors group. Wow. Yeah, in Greenwich. Very nice. For a number of years. And I was always nervous because I always felt like, okay, these are the survivors and I see them every week. But I was always nervous if somebody missed a meeting. Like my brain was always like, I was always on overdrive. Like, why did they miss the meeting? Like, I literally was like, why? And sometimes they just were running late or they had another appointment. But for me, I always thought like, oh, it's not good news. They should not miss this. And it, most of the time, at least 90% of the time, it was just regular life. It wasn't anything. But I found it very stressful just to deal with that, because I always had to be positive for so many women, because they came in with their own thoughts, opinions, hang-ups, beliefs. Some had support systems beyond this group. Some did not. Some had family that, helped them, and some that didn't. I mean, I personally found it stressful because I think I cared too much. And so I just was always worried.
Your reaction is why I didn't tell any of my family members. I told my mother, my sister, and my husband. That's it. Other than that, all of my, and I have a lot of close friends.
Yeah.
All of my friends, neighbors, my grandmother, who I'm very close to, she's Latina, and in Latin culture, everything is you're gonna die. Like, they're so dramatic about everything. It's like a kid could be jumping on a sofa and it's like, don't jump, stop jumping, you're gonna crack your head and you're gonna die. And I just knew that if I told certain people, like if I had told my best friend, I knew that she would be crying. And I was in a state where I was more so angry. Like, I wanted to fight. I had like this like warrior mentality. I didn't want sadness around me or people kind of having the attitude that I was gonna die. So I was very hush-hush about it. I fought, and then I told everyone.
I know exactly what that's like, because I don't know if I ever shared with you, but my son had cancer as a child. Yeah, he had cancer as my oldest son. And I never forget, drink it, please, drink up. I'll never forget, he had a soft tissue sarcoma, and it was attached to his femoral artery. So you know what that means.
Right.
And we were still living in England at the time, and I'll never forget, he was very ill, he was the works, you can imagine. He looked ill. This was the looked ill. Like, he was 10, but he was like 49 pounds. He was like skin and bones. And I'll never forget that the doctors were like, it could be a really bad infection or it could be this. So we're gonna check and see what it is. And I was like, okay, no problem. You try to be positive. And I'll never forget that when he told me, I was in shock. I was in disbelief. Like, I heard the words, but I didn't hear the words. And I was like, in my brain, I was like, what does that mean? Like I didn't understand what he said. I thought it was in a dream. One thing I will share that I noticed through that experience, and you probably noticed this as well, is you then become in a bubble. You're in a bubble, and it's the cancer bubble, and you can invite people in, but they may not come in and they may not stay. And only people you can rely on are the people that come into the bubble and stay. I noticed that.
That's good.
I noticed that. And so I didn't invite everybody in because I wasn't sure that they could stay. And so I know what you mean when you say you only told 4 people. You only need the people who are going to come in and stay. Because when people leave, it's disappointing and it's disastrous. So he's also cancer-free, so amen for that. So, yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
So let's get off cancer for a minute. Let's get off cancer and talk about something way more uplifting, and the work you're doing with women in your big hats. Tell me what this big hat is, which P.S. I missed this year, and I had every intention of coming.
Good one.
Tell me about the big hat.
So the Big Hat Brunch is something I put on annually. Number one, because it's Women's History Month.
Okay.
And it's important for me to, number one, celebrate women, but also cultivate that that type of behavior for other women to celebrate women. And so the Big Hat Brunch it's a platform where I can highlight other women. I can introduce the right women to connect with other like-minded women. And there's a lot of women who have either had dreams to want to be their own bosses, entrepreneurs, or either have something that they're passionate about that they want to do on the side. As women, we're nurturers. So instinctively, we put anything and everything before ourselves.
That's true. That's true.
And so this is almost like that event to say, girl, let's put you first. Let's make the spotlight about you. And so it encourages women to be passionate about the things that they're passionate about. And if they want to have the option to be able to learn how to turn that into a paycheck, they do that. And then we also select a group of exhibitors and vendors that we want to encourage the audience to support. So we do that as well. And then we usually have a guest speaker or some type of panel happening, and then we eat, because I think it's just important to discuss beauty and business. But as a Latina, whenever you discuss something important, it's typically over food. So that's where the kind of brunch comes.
So how did this even, this is such a great idea. I'm sorry I missed it this year, but I have to mark my calendar for next year. How did this even begin? Like, where did the original idea come from? Because this is not your background. So you don't just come up with this, or did you just come up with this?
I did. I kind of did just come up with it, and I made it the Big Hat because as a little girl, I would always see, women, whether it was pictures from the Kentucky Derby, and I just saw them just be so gracious and gorgeous. So I would see women with pearls, and I felt that more women needed to be seen in that type of light. I think it's important for the younger generation, even so, to be able to see women in business, even if they just boss up for the day, put on a big hat and go network and go be kind to other women. There's so many times where as women, our crowns need adjusting, but there's always that woman that wants to say how much they adjusted the other woman's crown. I wanted to create an environment that says, hey girl, we're gonna adjust your crown, but nobody needs to know about it. Because it's just more of a sisterhood.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to create.
Oh my goodness, it's great. So how many vendors do you have? Where do you usually hold it? I mean, how local is it?
Every year, I run out of space.
Okay.
So this year we had over 200 attendees.
Oh, wow.
And we had about 18 exhibitors.
Wow.
And I found the largest venue that I can find that was closest to the train station, because we have people that come from Massachusetts, from New York City, New Jersey, Connecticut. I didn't even think that I would attract an audience outside of Connecticut, but every year somebody comes, falls in love with it, and tells somebody else. Like on our page, there's already a group of women that want to commit to coming, and they want to purchase tickets, and they're all the way from Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, wow.
So I'm thinking that next year I'll find the largest venue I can find in close proximity, but after next year I'm thinking about taking it on tour.
Oh, wow.
And going from city to city.
That's a great idea. Have you ever thought of partnering with anybody? I don't know who, and I don't even know what that means when I'm suggesting it, but partnering with someone in order to do that, I don't even know who that would be.
I don't know. I can get corporate sponsorships. I can start growing it like that. But as far as a true partnership, I wouldn't, only because I'm very particular about my brand.
Okay.
So my specific company, that I have different companies, but the specific one that does that is the Lillie Ennis group.
Okay.
So I wouldn't want to bring somebody in that will
weaken
change.
your brand. Weaken your
Not
brand.
even weaken the brand. It might be somebody that will strengthen it, but somebody that doesn't see the exact vision of what I want.
Okay.
Somebody that would take it and just water it down, versus I love the intimate feel. So even if we grow to over 500 attendees, I still want that intimate kind of connection that women feel. So I would never want someone to come in and kind of tell me that this is how I have to do things. So I'm open to the idea, and I know that with growth, things have to change. But for the most part, I want to try to keep something or a vibe or a feeling that's true to me, kind of person.
So what's new? What's on the horizon? Where do you see Lillie Ennis next year, or the year after that? Where do you see that?
Oh man. Well, I actually just left a meeting with the city of Bridgeport, because our dream court, we will be breaking ground in May. So I just got the final approval for that.
Okay, back up. What's the dream court?
We're building two basketball courts in the city of Bridgeport.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Yes, I thought you knew for some
I
reason.
knew you were trying to raise money for it.
No, it's done.
I mean, I knew you were trying to raise money for it, but beyond that part, that is as far as I was up to date on what's going on. And 2, how do you get 2? Where are they going to be?
Well,
I'm very excited.
Yes.
And I don't even play basketball.
Well, it's going to be, you're very familiar with the area. It's going to be at BJ Brown Park. It's on the corner of
Is that
North
Madison?
Avenue and Madison.
Okay.
And as part of our agreement with the fundraising, the mayor has decided to rebuild the Boys and Girls Club that's right by next to it.
That is pretty
So that whole
amazing.
area is going to be redone.
That is amazing.
Mhm.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm really impressed.
Yeah,
I'm really
the city
impressed.
needs that. So I'm focused on finalizing that project. And once I finalize that project, I'll be having several programs running out of either the court and the Boys and Girls Club.
Is he going to let you help run the programs there? Uh-oh, Lillie. Oh my goodness, this is amazing.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing.
And I just put in paperwork for my non-for-profit. I have 2 specifically that I'm working on.
Okay.
I'm not going to release what
That's
that
okay,
is
that's
yet.
okay, that's
But I
okay.
have 2 non-for-profits in the work that I'm coming up with for next year. And those should be up and running and fully funded.
Okay.
But it will have to do with the youth, and one will have to deal with women empowerment specifically.
That's amazing. I'm not over the basketball court yet. Mom. Just not over that. I just wanted to say, you're glossing it over a little bit, but I'm not over it yet. That's really daggone impressive. That's really impressive because I don't know the statistics of it all, but I know that has been vacant for a few years now. And that's pretty amazing because I think the great thing is that it's it's literally on top of Central High School. And I don't know what that relationship is with the Boys and Girls Club there or the basketball court, but I can see that would be great for the school also.
Well, the reason why that location was so pivotal for me is because I don't know if you recall 2 years ago when there was a lot of gun violence in Bridgeport, like the homicide rate was like through the roof.
Okay.
And so for me, it's important to have that location because children can literally stand on the court.
Okay.
And they can make a subconscious decision. It's either I stay in school, because Central's right here, and focus on recreational things that make sense on the court, at the center, or if I make wrong decisions, then it's a visual reminder that on this side is the jail.
Oh, the jail. Oh.
So that location was important for me. And my husband and myself, on top of the court being donated, we're actually getting a bench made for that specific location. And there's going to be a silhouette on the bench. Have you ever been to Dallas?
I have been to Dallas.
Have you been to the JFK Memorial Site? No. Okay. There's a big...
Wait, no, I haven't been to Dallas. I've been to Fort Worth.
Oh,
sorry.
Close enough.
I'm like, wait, no.
So there's an X, and where JFK got assassinated. And literally, no one walks over the X. No one drives over the X. Even if there's traffic, they wait and they kind of swerve around it in honor of his passing.
Okay.
And so what we're creating is we're going to create a bench, and it's going to have a silhouette, and it's going to be a constant reminder where no one's going to sit on it for anyone who has lost someone due to gun violence.
You're gonna get me crying.
And our city needs that.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Oh, that's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't have me crying. I'm gonna cry on TV.
It's tea time.
It's not 8 o'clock.
Take a sip.
I'll take a sip. Oh my God, that is so beautiful. That is so inspirational. Please invite me to the dedication or the opening or whatever happens.
Ribbon cutting.
The ribbon cutting, yes. Oh my goodness, that is pretty dang on amazing. That's a great story, a great legacy for Bridgeport. That's pretty amazing. Thank you for sharing that with me. I don't even know what to say. It's so funny being able to have this platform, having this Tea Time with Lorna show. The people that I've met and I've interviewed have really surpassed my expectations, because I think I know them, and then they always tell me something that I didn't know. Like, I had a guy on a few weeks ago, and you know, he came up with a colouring book that they use in the Bridgeport schools.
Harry?
Harry, yes. Harry turns around and tells me, oh, I ran for local government and I won. And I'm like, that never came up before. The whole time we've been talking. I say that to say it's the same thing, that you've just surprised me with this. I think it's amazing, and I don't want to cry, so I'm just gonna end it right there. But I'm so glad we had this chance to talk, to catch up, and for you to be able to share these things.
I'm so happy that you're doing this. I'm so proud of you. This is amazing.
I love it. So, I'm very touched. So that's really impressive, to have a goal and to be able to see it through to the end. It's amazing. But it's not a goal for you, it's a goal for the city of Bridgeport, Connecticut. So that's really amazing. So thank you for sharing with me.
Of course. Oh.
So I'm so grateful that Lillie was able to come and share tea with me today, and for us to be able to catch up. She's a great example of a woman with a dream, a woman with ambition, with a goal, and focus. I mean, I've known Lillie for many years, so it's not new to me, the personality that she has and the woman she is, the mother she is, the wife she is. None of this is a surprise. I'm just pleased that I know her and that she's my friend. So, thank you for tuning in to Tea Time with Lorna again. I'm here once a week. If you're interested in the show and you love it, subscribe to YouTube and you can join us there, and we will have fun. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry, sometimes we almost cry. But, you know, that's what this show is about. It's about tea, talk, laughter. I've still got to do some reviews, but I'm doing a lot of interviews and I'm loving it. So thanks for joining me. We'll see you again next week.